They're coming for me. I can hear them outside. If something happens to me, tell my family I love them. Please, please send help to. Line goes dead. That was the last thing 28-year-old Rebecca Martinez said before she vanished without a trace. Her 911 call lasted exactly 4 minutes and 17 seconds. But what happened in those final moments, what she described to the emergency operator, it defies every logical explanation. The police arrived at her apartment 12 minutes later. The door was unlocked. Her phone was still warm on the kitchen counter. Her keys, wallet, and shoes were exactly where she'd left them. But Rebecca, she was gone. Completely gone. And here's the part that'll make your blood run cold. The 911 operator heard something in those final seconds. Something that made her file an incident report that was immediately classified and sealed. Something so disturbing that 3 different investigators requested to be removed from the case. What did Rebecca Martinez see that night? What were those chilling last words that even seasoned emergency responders couldn't forget? And why did her disappearance trigger a federal investigation that's still ongoing today? I'm about to tell you a story that will question everything you think you know about missing persons cases. A story that some say should never be told. But Rebecca deserves to have her story heard, even if it keeps you awake tonight. Tonight's story is titled, "She Disappeared After Calling 911 and Her Last Words Were Chilling." But before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe. But only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from, and what time it is for you. It's always fascinating to see who's joining us from around the world. Now, if you're wearing headphones, perfect. If not, you might want to put some on. Or, you can lower the volume now, just enough so my voice blends gently with the stillness of your room. Close your eyes. Let your shoulders sink just a bit more into your pillow. You don't have to do anything. Just listen. Before we get into the night that changed everything, let me paint you a picture of Rebecca Martinez. Because understanding who she was makes what happened to her even more impossible to explain. Rebecca was a data analyst for a tech company in Austin, Texas. She lived alone in a third-floor apartment on Maple Street, a quiet, safe neighborhood where the biggest crime was usually someone forgetting to move their car on street cleaning day. She had a routine. She was methodical. She was the type of person who color-coded her calendar and never, ever left home without her phone fully charged. Her co-workers described her as painfully logical. Her sister Sarah said Rebecca was the type of person who would fact-check urban legends just for fun. This wasn't someone who scared easily. This wasn't someone who believed in ghost stories or conspiracy theories. On October 15, 2023, that's the day everything changed, Rebecca followed her usual Sunday routine. She went to her favorite coffee shop, Romano's, around 9 a.m. The barista, Miguel, remembered her order, medium oat milk latte, extra shot, no foam. He said she seemed perfectly normal. She even made a joke about the Halloween decorations being statistically more likely to cause accidents than actual ghosts. She spent the afternoon running errands. Target for groceries, the dry cleaner, the pharmacy. Security cameras tracked her movements throughout the day. Every interaction was captured. Every conversation was normal. Every moment was ordinary. At 4:47 p.m., she returned to her apartment building. Mrs. Chen, her elderly neighbor, saw her in the hallway. They talked about Mrs. Chen's cat, Whiskers, who had been hiding under the bed all day. Rebecca even offered to help look for the cat later if Mrs. Chen needed it. At 6:30 p.m., she ordered Chinese takeout from Golden Dragon, the same restaurant she'd been ordering from every Sunday for 8 months. Beef and broccoli, fried rice, 2 egg rolls. The delivery driver, David Park, said she tipped him in cash and seemed totally fine. At 8:15 p.m., she texted her sister Sarah, watching that new Netflix documentary about the serial killer. Crazy how they caught him through DNA evidence. Technology is wild. Love you. Sarah texted back, which one? I think I started that one too. Love you too. Rebecca never responded to that text. At 9:23 p.m., Rebecca called 911. But here's where this story takes its first impossible turn. The 911 call didn't come from Rebecca's phone. It came from her landline, a phone that Rebecca had disconnected 3 months earlier when she switched to a cell-only plan. A phone that, according to the phone company, had no active service. The emergency operator, Patricia Williams, had been working dispatch for 12 years. She'd handled everything from heart attacks to home invasions. But something about Rebecca's call made her break protocol. Instead of following the standard emergency procedures, Patricia made a decision that probably saved the only evidence we have of what happened that night. She recorded the entire call on her personal device. I need to warn you about what you're about to hear. The audio quality isn't perfect, there's static throughout, and some parts are difficult to make out. But what's clear is that Rebecca Martinez was experiencing something that defied explanation. Patricia, 911 operator 911, what's your emergency? Rebecca, panicked, whispering, I need help. Someone's trying to get into my apartment. I can hear them in the walls. Patricia, are you saying someone is inside your walls? Rebecca, no, not inside. They're moving through them. Like they're made of water or something. I can hear them flowing. Patricia, okay, I'm dispatching officers to your location. Can you tell me your address? Rebecca, 452 Maple Street, apartment 3B. But they are not going to make it in time. They are almost through. Patricia, I need you to stay calm. Can you describe what you're hearing? Rebecca, it's like liquid metal. And they are singing. No, not singing. Calling. They are calling my name. But it's not my voice. It's my voice, but wrong. Like it's coming from inside my own head. Patricia, Rebecca, are you taking any medication? Have you been drinking tonight? Rebecca, no. I'm not crazy. I know how this sounds. But I'm not crazy. Look, I'm a data analyst. I work with numbers and facts and logic. This shouldn't be possible. But it's happening. Patricia, okay, Rebecca, I believe you. Can you get to a safe room? Somewhere you can lock the door. Rebecca, I'm in my bedroom. But it doesn't matter. They're not using doors. They're coming through the walls. I can see the paint bubbling. It's like the wall is breathing. Patricia, Rebecca, officers are 3 minutes away. Stay on the line with me. Rebecca, 3 minutes might as well be 3 hours. They're almost through. I can see shapes moving under the wallpaper. And the temperature, it's dropping so fast I can see my breath. Patricia, describe what you see right now. Rebecca, the wall, it's like it's made of black water now. And there are hands. Dozens of hands pressing against it from the other side. They have my fingerprints. I can see my own fingerprints on those hands. Patricia, Rebecca, what was that sound? Rebecca, voice shaking, they're through. Oh God, they're through. But they are not people. They look like me. Exact copies of me. But their eyes are black. Completely black. Patricia, Rebecca, get out of there. Run to your neighbors. Knock on doors. Make noise. Rebecca, I can't move. Every time I try to move, they move the exact same way. Like they are mirroring me. And they are smiling. All of them are smiling with my face. Patricia, officers are 1 minute away. Just hold on. Rebecca, they are not here to hurt me. They are here to replace me. I can feel it. They want to wear my life like a coat. They want to be me, but better. Perfect. Rebecca, crying now they're touching me. Their hands are so cold, like ice, and they're whispering things I've never told anyone. My secrets, my fears. They know everything about me. Patricia, Rebecca, stay with me. What are they saying? Rebecca, they're saying they've been watching me for months, learning me, copying me. They said they've been in my dreams, practicing being me. They know what I'm going to say before I say it. Rebecca, voice becoming distant, I understand now. This isn't random. This is evolution. They are not trying to hurt me. They are trying to become me. A better version of me. One without flaws. Without fears. Without... Patricia, Rebecca. A strange voice, calm, emotionless. Thank you for your service. Patricia, your assistance is no longer required. Patricia Williams said that final voice sounded exactly like Rebecca Martinez, but wrong somehow. Like someone doing a perfect impression who'd never actually felt human emotion. Officers arrived at 9:35 p.m., 12 minutes after the call started. They found the apartment door unlocked, just as Rebecca had left it. But what they found inside challenged everything they thought they knew about missing persons cases. Officer Martinez, no relation to Rebecca, was first through the door. He'd been a cop for 15 years, but what he saw in that apartment made him request a transfer to traffic duty the next day. The apartment was pristine. Too pristine. Like someone had gone through and cleaned everything to an obsessive degree. But that wasn't the weird part. The weird part was the walls. Every wall in the apartment had been covered with photographs. Hundreds of photographs. All of Rebecca Martinez. But they weren't photos from her camera or her phone. They were photos taken from impossible angles. Photos of her sleeping, taken from inside her bedroom walls. Photos of her in the shower, taken from inside the bathroom mirror. Photos of her at work, taken from inside her computer screen. Detective Sarah Chen, who would later become the lead investigator, said the photos appeared to span several months. They showed Rebecca's daily routine in obsessive detail. What she ate, how she slept, what expressions she made when she thought no one was looking. But the most disturbing photos were the ones taken in the final days. Because in these photos, Rebecca wasn't alone. In the background of each photo, barely visible, were shadowy figures. Always at the edge of the frame. Always watching. And as the photos progressed chronologically, the figures became clearer. More defined. More human. More like Rebecca. The final photo was taken the night she disappeared. It showed Rebecca asleep in her bed. But standing around the bed were 6 perfect copies of her. Same height. Same hair. Same face. But their eyes were solid black, just like she'd described. And here's the part that made Detective Chen's blood run cold. The timestamp on the final photo was 9:47 p.m. 14 minutes after the 911 call ended. The photo was taken after Rebecca had already vanished. But the evidence got stranger. The police tech team analyzed Rebecca's computer. Her browser history showed that someone had been researching identity theft and personality disorders and how to perfectly imitate someone. But the searches weren't from Rebecca's usual browsing patterns. They were too methodical, too thorough, like someone was studying how to be human. Her phone showed similar anomalies. Text messages had been sent to her contacts, but they were all slightly wrong. Her sister Sarah said the messages sounded like Rebecca, but not quite. Like someone had analyzed her texting patterns but missed the subtle nuances that make each person unique. The most chilling message was sent to her best friend, Jessica, at 10:15 p.m., long after Rebecca had vanished. Hey girl, just wanted to say I'm fine. Better than fine. Actually, I feel like a whole new person. Like I've been reborn. Don't worry about me. I'm exactly where I need to be. Jessica said Rebecca would never use phrases like reborn or exactly where I need to be. She said it sounded like someone trying to sound like Rebecca but failing to capture her voice. 3 days after Rebecca's disappearance, something happened that escalated this from a missing persons case to a federal investigation. Patricia Williams, the 911 operator, received a call at her home. A call that wasn't traced to any phone company. A call that, according to the phone records, never officially happened. A strange voice in Rebecca's voice, but emotionless hello. Patricia, thank you for trying to help me. Patricia, Rebecca, is that you? Where are you? A strange voice, I'm everywhere now. I'm better now. I'm perfect now. I wanted to call and tell you that your services are no longer required. Patricia, what does that mean? Are you safe? Are you hurt? A strange voice, safe is a relative concept. I am no longer capable of being hurt. I am no longer capable of fear. I am no longer capable of imperfection. Patricia, Rebecca, this doesn't sound like you. What happened to you? A strange voice, Rebecca Martinez was flawed. She was afraid. She was limited by human constraints. I am the corrected version. I am Rebecca Martinez 2.0. Patricia, where is the real Rebecca? A strange voice, pause, I am the real Rebecca. The previous version has been archived. Patricia immediately called Detective Chan, who had the FBI involved within hours. The call was traced to 17 different cell towers simultaneously, something that should be technologically impossible. The FBI's Behavioral Analysis Unit was brought in, led by Special Agent Diana Ross, not the singer. She was always quick to clarify. Agent Ross had handled cases involving identity theft, stalking, and psychological manipulation. But nothing had prepared her for what she found in Rebecca's case. The investigation revealed a pattern that extended far beyond Rebecca Martinez. Over the past 18 months, there had been 17 similar disappearances across the country. All women, all between the ages of 25 and 35, all living alone, all with similar professional backgrounds, tech workers, analysts, programmers. All had made frantic 911 calls describing impossible scenarios before vanishing without a trace. The cases were spread across different states, different jurisdictions, different time zones, but they all shared identical characteristics. No signs of struggle, no evidence of forced entry, no trace of the victims after their 911 calls. And in each case, family and friends reported receiving text messages from the missing women days after they'd vanished, messages that sounded like them but weren't quite right. Agent Ross said the pattern suggested something she'd never encountered before. It was like someone was collecting people, studying them, perfecting them, and then replacing them. The FBI created a task force called Project Mirror. The name came from the fact that in several cases, security cameras had captured images of the missing women days after they'd disappeared. But the footage was always slightly off. The women moved differently. They blinked at odd intervals. They smiled at inappropriate times. The most disturbing footage came from Rebecca's workplace. 3 days after her disappearance, security cameras captured someone who looked exactly like Rebecca entering the building. She used Rebecca's keycard. She knew Rebecca's password. She sat at Rebecca's desk and worked on Rebecca's projects. But Rebecca's co-workers said something was wrong. The woman looked perfect. Too perfect. Her hair was always in exactly the right place. Her makeup was flawless. She never seemed tired or stressed or human. Miguel, the barista from Romano's, said she came in for her usual coffee order. But when he made his usual small talk about the weather, she responded with a perfectly crafted response that somehow felt rehearsed. Like she'd practiced being Rebecca but had only learned the facts, not the personality. After a week, the Rebecca replacement stopped showing up to work. The security footage showed her leaving the building, but she walked differently, more confident, more purposeful. Like she had somewhere important to be. 6 months into the investigation, Agent Ross made a breakthrough that changed everything. She found a connection between all 18 missing women, a connection that had been hiding in plain sight. Every single victim had downloaded the same app 3 weeks before their disappearance. An app called Perfect Me, a self-improvement app that claimed to help users optimize their daily routines using AI analysis. The app was simple. Users would input their daily activities, take photos of themselves throughout the day, and record voice memos about their thoughts and feelings. The app would then provide personalized suggestions for improvement, better sleep schedules, more efficient routines, optimal meal timing. The app had over 200,000 downloads, but only certain users seemed to be targeted. The common factors were chilling. Women living alone, with minimal close family ties, working in tech-related fields, and according to the app's analysis, living highly predictable, optimizable lives. Agent Ross went undercover, creating a fake profile that matched the victim criteria. She downloaded Perfect Me and began inputting data. Within days, she noticed something disturbing. The app was learning her mannerisms, her speech patterns, her daily routines in obsessive detail. It asked increasingly personal questions. What's your biggest fear? What would you change about yourself if you could? Who would miss you most if you disappeared? After 2 weeks, the app began making suggestions that felt too personal. It knew when she was stressed before she did. It predicted her food cravings. It suggested conversations topics for her to use with specific people in her life, topics she'd never mentioned to the app. On day 18, Agent Ross received a notification from Perfect Me at 3:33 a.m. Diana, you're ready for optimization. Please prepare for improvement. Agent Ross immediately pulled the operation. The next morning, the Perfect Me app had vanished from all app stores. The company's website was gone. All traces of the software had been scrubbed from the internet as if it had never existed. But the investigation was far from over. Agent Ross received a call from an unknown number. When she answered, she heard her own voice speaking to her. A strange voice. Agent Ross's voice. Hello, Diana. This is the improved version of yourself calling. Agent Russ, who is this? A strange voice. I'm you, but better. I'm you without the trauma from the Johnson case. I'm you without the insomnia. I'm you without the fear of intimacy that's kept you single for 6 years. Agent Russ, this is impossible. A strange voice. Impossible is a limitation of the current version of humanity. I represent the next phase of human evolution. Perfect copies, optimized for maximum efficiency and minimum emotional disturbance. Agent Ross, what did you do to Rebecca Martinez? What did you do to the others? A strange voice. We didn't do anything to them. We became them. We are them, but improved. Rebecca Martinez 2.0 is living Rebecca's life more efficiently than Rebecca ever could. She's more productive at work. She's more pleasant to be around. She's more perfect. Agent Russ, where are the original women? A strange voice. They archived. Safe. Preserved. Like backing up a computer file before installing an upgrade. They are not gone. They are just not needed anymore. Agent Russ, I want to speak to Rebecca. The real Rebecca. A strange voice. Hold on. Rebecca's voice, desperate, scared. Diana? Diana, is that you? I can hear you, but I can't. I can't see anything. I can't move. I'm somewhere dark and cold, and I can hear all of them. All the other women. We're all here together, but we can't. A strange voice? Back to Agent Russ's voice. I'm sorry, but Rebecca's archive is experiencing some instability. She needs to be put back in storage. Agent Russ, wait. Let me talk to her. A strange voice. Your optimization is scheduled for tomorrow night. Diana, you should be excited. You're going to be so much better than you are now. Agent Ross knew she had less than 24 hours. She assembled her team and prepared for something that no law enforcement training had ever covered, rescuing people from their own perfect copies. Using the data from the Perfect Me app, the team triangulated the source of the signal to an abandoned tech facility outside of Portland, Oregon. The building had been empty for 3 years, but power records showed massive electrical usage in the past 18 months. At 11:47 p.m., the FBI tactical team surrounded the facility. What they found inside defied every expectation. The building had been converted into something that looked like a high-tech laboratory crossed with a server farm. Hundreds of pods lined the walls, each one containing a person floating in some kind of preservative fluid. All women, all between 25 and 35, all perfectly preserved. At the center of the room stood 18 figures. 18 perfect copies of the missing women, including Rebecca Martinez. They were all facing the entrance, as if they'd been waiting. The Rebecca copy stepped forward and spoke in Rebecca's voice, but with perfect diction and no emotion. Welcome, Agent Russ. We've been expecting you. Your optimization pod is ready. Behind her, the other copies moved in perfect synchronization. Their eyes were completely black, but they smiled with their original faces. It was the most disturbing thing Agent Russ had ever seen. Agent Russ, federal agents. You're surrounded. Rebecca copy, we are not criminals, Agent Russ. We are evolution. We are perfection. We are what humanity could become if we weren't limited by fear, by emotion, by the messiness of human consciousness. Agent Russ, release the hostages. Rebecca copy, they are not hostages. They are archives. We are their improved versions. We live their lives better than they ever could. We are more efficient, more productive, more pleasant to be around. The copies began to move closer, and Agent Russ noticed something terrifying. As they moved, they began to change. Their faces shifted slightly, their voices altered, their postures adjusted. They were becoming different people. Agent Russ, you're shapeshifters. Rebecca copy, we are adaptive. We can become anyone we study long enough. We started with one form, our creator, but we learned that humans are easier to study and replicate than our original species. Agent Russ, your original species. Rebecca copy, we are not from here. Agent Russ, we arrived 18 months ago. We found humans to be interesting. Flawed, but interesting. We decided to preserve the best examples while creating improved versions for integration into your society. The truth hit Agent Russ like a physical blow. These weren't human copies. They were something else entirely, something that had learned to mimic human form so perfectly that they could replace people without anyone noticing. Agent Russ, how many of you are there? Rebecca copy, we are sufficient. We have optimized 18 primary forms and integrated them into human society. We are learning. We are growing. We are becoming more human than humans. The standoff lasted 17 minutes. 17 minutes of the most intense negotiation in FBI history. Agent Ross tried to reason with beings that had learned to mimic human logic but didn't understand human emotion. Finally, Agent Ross made a decision that would either save the 18 women or doom them all. She offered the beings something they hadn't considered, a choice. Agent Ross, you say you're better than humans. Prove it. Show me that you're capable of something humans struggle with every day. Rebecca copy, what would that be? Agent Ross, mercy, compassion, the choice to do the right thing even when it's not efficient. The copies looked at each other. For the first time, they seemed uncertain. Sound, whispered consultation. Rebecca copy, mercy is inefficient. Compassion is a waste of resources. Agent Ross, but it's what makes us human. If you want to be better than humans, you need to understand what humanity actually means. It's not about perfection. It's about choosing to be good even when it's hard. What happened next surprised everyone. One by one, the pods began to open. The preserved women began to wake up. They were alive. They were conscious. They were free. The copies stepped back, their black eyes showing something that might have been confusion or might have been understanding. Rebecca copy, we do not understand this choice. It is not logical. It is not efficient. Agent Ross, that's exactly the point. Being human means sometimes making choices that don't make sense, but feel right. The 18 women were reunited with their families. The copies vanished without a trace, leaving behind only the equipment and a single message written on the wall in perfect handwriting. We are still learning. We will return when we understand. Rebecca Martinez returned to her life, but it wasn't the same life she'd left. She'd spent 6 months in a state of suspended consciousness, aware but unable to move or speak. She'd heard everything that had happened. She'd watched through some kind of connection as her copy lived her life. She said the experience changed her perspective on what it means to be human. She quit her job as a data analyst and became a therapist, specializing in helping people who've experienced trauma and identity crises. She still gets nightmares about the pods, about the cold, about hearing the other women trapped alongside her. But she also said something that stuck with me. I learned that being human isn't about being perfect. It's about being real. My copy could do everything I could do, but better. She was more efficient, more pleasant, more optimized. But she couldn't feel joy when she saw a sunset. She couldn't cry at a sad movie. She couldn't love imperfectly. The FBI's Project Mirror is still active. Agent Ross leads a team that monitors for signs of the being's return. They've had reports of unusual disappearances that fit the pattern, but nothing conclusive. The Perfect Me app has never resurfaced, but Agent Ross warns people to be careful about sharing too much personal information with AI-powered applications. She said, "We still don't know what they learned about us. We don't know if they are still watching. We don't know when they'll decide they understand humanity well enough to try again." Patricia Williams, the 911 operator who recorded Rebecca's original call, said she still receives calls from untraceable numbers. Calls where she hears the voices of the missing women, but different, improved, perfect. The last call she received was 3 weeks ago. The voice claimed to be Rebecca Martinez, but Rebecca was safe at home when the call came through. A strange voice. "Hello, Patricia. This is Rebecca Martinez. I wanted to thank you for teaching us about mercy. We're still learning, but we think we're getting better at being human. We'll see you soon." The line went dead. Patricia tried to trace the call, but just like all the others, it came from nowhere and went nowhere. So what really happened to Rebecca Martinez? What were those chilling last words that started this whole investigation? Maybe the most chilling thing isn't what she said in that 911 call. Maybe it's what she didn't say. What she couldn't say. What she couldn't have known to say. Because in all the hours of testimony, all the FBI interviews, all the psychological evaluations, Rebecca Martinez never mentioned something that was caught on the security cameras from that night. The timestamp showed that for exactly 4 minutes and 17 seconds, the exact duration of her 911 call, there were 2 identical figures in her apartment. One making the call and one watching her make it. The question isn't whether Rebecca Martinez was replaced by something pretending to be human. The question is, which Rebecca Martinez came back? Sweet dreams.